Hey, fourth grade, how are we doing? We've only got a few lessons left this year, okay? Counting this one, I believe it's about 3. So I'm kind of picking and choosing things out of our recorder book that, if I'm honest, we probably wouldn't have gotten to in class because we would have been busy preparing to play the same songs, practicing the same songs over and over again to prepare for our concert. Now, that means we can actually kind of get ourselves ahead of the game a little bit. The note that I'm going to teach you guys today, and the whole concept behind the note, is something we wouldn't always hit in 4th grade. Maybe some of the black belt people might get it, but it is something that will be appearing in your music come 5th grade should you decide to do band. And honestly, even if you decide not to do band, it's something that we will hit in 5th grade music. Now you'll be a little more prepared for it. So I'm going to ask you to go to page 23 in your book, okay? And on page 23, there is a symbol, a newer looking symbol, that kind of looks like a lowercase b. It looks a little bit like a lowercase b, but it's different. It has the outside of the kind of rounded part of the lowercase b is thicker, and it almost tilts up a little bit, and your book identifies it as a flat sign. Now, we looked at a symbol a few weeks ago, and actually a little bit before we broke off in March, that looked like a hashtag or a number sign, the 2 horizontal lines, the 2 vertical lines. That was called a sharp. And when we have a sharped version of a note, it makes the note sound a little bit higher. So for example, we have F, and we have F sharp. Very, very close in pitch, but not exactly the same. The sharp is a little bit higher. Flat does the opposite. When we attach a flat to a note, it gives us a very, very slightly lower version. So for example, the note we're going to be focused in on today is B flat. So here's regular B. Here is B flat. Again, very, very close in pitch, but not exactly the same. Okay? Now, not only is the idea of a flat sign a little bit different, but we even have a very different fingering for this one. Typically when we use both hands, it's 3 at the top plus the thumb and whatever we have to do with the right hand. For this one, for B flat, we're going to play basically set up like you're going to play G, okay? Thumb and 3 fingers, but we're going to take that middle finger and just lift it a little bit. So we should have thumb on the bottom, 1, open hole here, 3, okay? And again, make sure you don't play like this. Don't stretch out that middle finger because then you won't be prepared to switch to an A or a G or anything like that going forward. Okay, so again, we want 1, open hole, 3. And then with the right hand, we're going to add the first hole below that. Nothing else, okay? So for B flat, thumb, 1, 3, right hand 1. And it should sound like this. Okay, so let's try just a couple in quarter notes together. Make sure that you're playing the same pitch as me. If you're not, rewind me a little bit and see if you can kind of adjust that hand position. If you're really stuck, don't forget you can go to page 33 or 34 and look at the finger positions there, okay? So let's say 4 measures of quarter notes on B flat. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. And it's nice because of all the notes we've been learning, a lot of them have been really a lot lower notes. Because we let the air out of that second hole, we're going to get a higher note. You know that woodwind instruments work. The air tries to escape as soon as possible. The longer we keep it in there, the lower the sound is. Because we're letting it out a little bit early, we are playing a higher sound, which means we don't have to blow quite as soft as we do with things like low D, low E, low F. So we're going to look at the example on page 23 now. It says, let's play B flat. And the rhythm is easy enough. A whole note all the way through. Half note, then 4 quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another whole note. And I'm going to ask you to look at measure, 2 and 3. If you look at measure 2, the first half note in there is a B flat. It's on the 3rd line. It has a flat in front of it. The second one does not have a flat. And I'll ask you to remember that once we put that flat on the third line, it's going to change all the other notes on the third line. We can see that again in the next measure where they only put the flat sign in front of the first quarter note. But we don't play that as B flat, B, B, B. That is going to sound atrocious. Instead, it changes all of those ones in the measure. Once we hit a bar line and the measure is over, then it's gone and we have to put it in again. Okay, but within the measure, once we put a flat sign on a line or in a space, it changes all the notes on that line or space. Okay, so let's play B flat together. Pretty easy rhythm. Okay, so remember, thumb, 1, 3, 1 on the right hand. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. That's the idea. Easy as anything. Now, the next one down, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, we have replaced putting flats in front of all the notes for a key signature, something we looked at with Sweetly Sings the Donkey way back when. And what that means is that between the treble clef and the time signature, the 3/4, there is a flat on the third line, telling us that every single B, and B's only, in this piece of music is going to be flat. So for example, the first measure doesn't read B, 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 it reads B flat, B flat, B flat. The key signature tells us all B's are different. Okay, now the other thing we should keep in mind is that this song is in 3/4, which means that we can't add extra beats. It's very tempting to go bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, but that little extra breath, that little extra hesitation after that third note is gonna accidentally catapult us into 4/4, okay? Now, the other thing about this, we have a new symbol. If you look at number 3, measure 3 that is, there is a curvy line that connects measure 3 to measure 4. That is called a tie, and what it tells us is that we needed a note that lasted for 5 beats. And not only do we not have a note that gets 5 beats, but 5 beats is too big to fit in a measure. So this symbol takes a dotted half note that's worth 3 beats, and the half note in the next measure ties them together. So instead of getting, let's see, that's a G. Instead of getting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, we get, and that'll do it, okay? The other thing the 3/4 means in this case is that your count-off is going to be a little bit different. Because the count-off is shorter than we expect it to be, we expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. I like to give you 2 measures as count-off. So kind of like 1, 2, 3, here we go, whenever we need to count off for a play-along, okay? So let's take that first measure, 3 B flats. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Not too bad. Now switching to A is going to be a little bit of a chore, but honestly, it's okay. You got this. So practice this real quick. Set up that B flat, 1, 3, 1, and then just take off these 2, add the middle back. Whoop, whoop, just like that. Okay, and we're just going to go B flat, B flat, B flat, A, A, A. Let's try it. Set up in B flat, 1, 2, 3, here we go. Little weird sounding because the B flat and the A are so close together, and we're so used to hearing B moving to A that it doesn't give us the same harmony that we kind of expect, okay? And then we're going to land on the G, okay? Now, at the very end of line 1, there is a single A on that third beat. Timing is going to be a little rough on this one. We're really gonna have to think in terms of, once we land on that G, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now I know it gets 5 beats. I know I just talked to you about that. But since we are in 3/4, we don't want to count up to 5. That just gets confusing and it makes counting harder, believe it or not. So we want to think of this as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So let's try that. G for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then A on beat 3 in that next measure. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 play-alongs for this. One where I do the fingering and tell you the notes, one where I play it with you. So let's start with fingering and notes, okay? So I'm starting on G, and this is in measure 3 with that tied dotted half note. 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to play it along with you. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, so because you're not playing with an ensemble, do your best on the timing with that, but if it's not perfect, the world will continue to spin. Let's try that entire top line. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now, in the bottom line, second line, we start with a measure that looks a lot like the beginning, except instead of 3 quarter notes on B flat, we get a half note and then a quarter note. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's try that. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, and next one's a little bit rough, okay? This is kind of the measure that you haven't had to do anything ridiculous up to this point. Here's your ridiculous measure. So we're going to go from F to B flat to F. Okay, now it's not easy, but there are definitely worse notes to switch between. All we need to do when we set up F, we're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. All we do to switch to B flat is we take off the middle in the left hand, the ring in the right hand, okay? This is definitely one we want to isolate. So we want to play this without a count off, first off. Just practice getting that sound, that F, B flat, and getting those fingers to kind of operate without you telling, okay, middle finger, you up now, okay, now ring finger, now you go. Just kind of getting them to boop, boop, boop. All right, so here is a very slow play along for just this measure. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Same thing, little bit speedier, not too much. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, now the good news is after you've done that atrocious measure, the next one, the ending, is cake. We've got a tie again. But this time it's 2 dotted half notes. 3 beats plus 3 beats is going to be 6 beats to end it. On G. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay? Now we're going to try and put that F, B flat, F measure in there. I'm going to start by doing measure 1 into measure 2 on the second line. Okay? B flat, F, B flat, F. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Now we're going to start in the same place, and we're going to try and land on G at the end. Here we go. Starting on B flat. Be ready with those extra fingers for F. 1, 2, 3, here we go. That's it. That's all there is to it. So one last play along, we'll take the entire song, starting on B flat, starting with the ridiculously easy line, then moving on to the slightly harder line. If you need to rewind a little bit and try your hand at line 2 again, by all means, please do so. Here we go. B flat on the top line. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, as you can see, when you start at the beginning, it's not going to be perfect the first time, even if you're the teacher. So, we kept it in time, so work up to that, keep going with that second line, and you got this. And again, as you can see, if it's not perfect, the point is, we challenged ourselves to do something a little bit more difficult as far as the finger positions are concerned, and we learned a new concept that's going to be absolutely vital to us come 5th grade band. So, there we are. I will see you guys next week. By the time you watch this, we will officially be in June, and the end is in sight, my friends. See you next week. Bye.